Guidelines. Fang Ping shook the cloth bag in front of the man and started questioning him. A wanted criminal? What's with you carrying only 200,000 in cash and a few measly bottles of pills? What the hell does that have to do with you? Huang Bin roared. Those bottles of pills were all specially prepared for his breakthrough to the third rank. But now they had fallen into Fang Ping's hands. Realizing the situation was not in his favor, Huang Bin decided to stop yelling and cursing. Instead, he started to negotiate with his captor. Kid want to make a deal with me. The terms of the deal were very attractive. Specifically, if Fang Ping let him go, the 200,000 RMB, along with the few bottles of pills, would all be his. According to Huang Bin, they included 2 bottles of qi and blood pills, 1 bottle of ordinary vitality pills, 1 bottle of first-rank qi and blood elixirs, 1 bottle of second-rank bone-tempering elixirs, and 1 bottle of second-rank organ protection elixirs. These were all things he had invested in for his breakthrough. Their market value totaled up to 5.24 million RMB. Fang Ping was floored when he heard that. Even though this was another world, money was still money. Just a few bottles of a medicine were worth over 5 million. Was this some kind of joke? Huang Bin watched Fang Ping intently, as if afraid of missing any expression on his face. Seeing Fang Ping's astonishment, the man pressed his advantage and continued to tempt him, saying that these qi and blood-replenishing pills were extremely good for the upcoming college entrance exam and his future cultivation path. For example, that bottle of first-rank qi and blood elixir is an essential item for martial artists. During all night, the battles. It's much more effective than other types of regular qi and blood supplements. In addition, the bone-tempering and organ protection elixirs also have uses that can't be underestimated. Because martial artists are actually just a group of ordinary people who can break through the body's limits. If you don't forge hard bones and don't use medicine to protect your fragile internal organs, then once your qi and blood exceed their limits, you'll undoubtedly die. Hearing him say this, Fang Ping's heart started pounding. If what Huang Bin said was true, then those bottles of medicine would be incredibly useful to him. Their value wasn't just in money, and if he handed Huang Bin over to the police or the capture bureau, all these resources would be confiscated. He wouldn't get a single bottle. And don't even think about killing me and taking this stuff. The clues I've left behind, at most, this will only mislead the police for 10 days, or maybe half a month. When they track me here and find me dead, then you definitely won't be able to escape. Huang Bin pressed his advantage and began to threaten Fang Ping. In reality, he was just trying to stall for time. Fang Ping's ropes were very tight, but not impossible to remove. On one hand, Huang Bin was trying to entice Fang Ping into considering his offer. On the other, he was trying to untie the ropes on his hands. He was truly conflicted, not knowing which choice to make. It was true that if he killed Huang Bin, sooner or later, the Yang City authorities would find out. But if he let him go, the chances of his opponent coming back for revenge were very high, not to mention this guy was a second-rank martial artist. He couldn't beat him in a fight. Thinking about this dangerous situation, Fang Ping gritted his teeth and decided to hand him over to the police. But if he did that, the millions worth of items here would also be confiscated. To become a qi and blood martial artist, you needed at least 150 points. Even though Fang Ping had the system, the wealth points a martial artist needed weren't a small number. 524 million RMB could be exchanged for a lot of qi and blood points, or even if he didn't exchange them directly. Consuming those medicines could also turn him into a martial artist. Then Fang Ping kept thinking of ways to get the best of both worlds. A name appeared in his mind, Wang Jinyang. But these resources were also very precious to martial artists. He and Wang Jinyang weren't close at all. What if he wanted to kill Fang Ping? To take these things for himself, then he'd be toast. Seeing Fang Ping hesitate for a long time, Huang Bin also became afraid that he would be killed, so he started to urge him again. You still have to think about this for so long. That's over 5 million in the bag. No matter how you look at it, it'd be hard for you to earn this kind of money. All right. Fang Ping took a deep breath. In front of him was a fierce tiger. Behind him could be a hungry wolf. So after dealing with the tiger, he could only pray that the chance of meeting a hungry wolf was 0. Thinking of this, Fang Ping picked up the broom handle from the ground. He gripped it tightly. Seeing this, Huang Bin started to panic, but no matter how much he struggled, he couldn't break free from the ropes. What do you want to do? His voice was extremely urgent. I'm thinking after the deal. Will you be willing to let me go? Of course. I, Huang Bin, am a man of my word. As he said this, Huang Bin finally managed to loosen the ropes. He immediately lunged forward, wanting to settle the score with Fang Ping, but in his hand he was holding a wooden broom handle. He took the opportunity to strike him, squarely on the head. Meanwhile, at Mount Kang in Yang City, Wang Jinyang was investigating all by himself, but he had practically turned the entire mountain upside down, and it was already late at night, yet he still couldn't find a single trace of Huang Bin. Just as he was feeling exhausted, Wang Jinyang suddenly received a phone call. It was Fang Ping. He seemed surprised. Why was he calling so late? How should I put this? I wanted to ask if you, Brother Wang, are still in Yang City. I'm still here. What's up? Actually, I accidentally ran into the wanted criminal from the news, but I accidentally injured him. As soon as he heard this, Wang Jinyang was momentarily stunned. The wanted criminal. Right now, that could only be Huang Bin. Fang Ping was just a high school student. How could he possibly subdue him? On the other end, Fang Ping continued to plead. In Yang City, the only martial artist he knew was Wang Jinyang, so he wanted him to come over and take a look. When Wang Jinyang arrived at Fang Ping's place, he was already standing in front of Huang Bin's door, room 201. Actually, at that moment, he wasn't sure if the person in the room was Huang Bin or not. The idea of a martial artist, like him a second rank about to break through to the third being taken down by Fang Ping, was a bit absurd. But if it really was Huang Bin, then even he would have to be extremely cautious when confronting him. Wang Jinyang was troubled by many thoughts, so he stood in front of room 201 for a relatively long time. Fang Ping inside got impatient and opened the door to check, and there he was standing frozen in front of the door. Brother Wang. What are you doing standing outside? Hurry and come in. I thought you weren't coming. Fang Ping impatiently pulled him inside. I just happened to still be in Yang City, so I dropped by on my way. Let me say this first. If this is too much trouble, I won't be able to help you much. Wang Jinyang suddenly stopped talking, because the person tied up in the house was indeed Huang Bin. Seeing his expression, Fang Ping had to reassure him, don't worry. He's just passed out. It's no big deal. No big deal. A giant question mark appeared over Wang Jinyang's head. Fang Ping was just a 12th grade student. He managed to take down a second-rank martial artist who was about to reach the third rank and tied him up like a chicken. And he called that no big deal. Seeing him completely stunned, Fang Ping spoke again, Brother Wang. If I call the police and handle this, I'll probably get a huge reward, right? My family isn't very well off. And Wang Jinyang realized this kid's intentions were not so simple. He asked in return, what are you getting at? Since you asked, I won't beat around the bush and with you anymore. As he spoke, Fang Ping pulled out Huang Bin's bag. I found a lot of good stuff in this guy's bag. The prices are beyond imagination. Do you know why this guy is wanted? His hands are stained with the blood of other martial artists. Wang Jinyang showed a look of disgust. Even his tone of voice seemed harsh. But Fang Ping didn't give up. He continued to persuade him. Isn't that why I need your help, Brother Wang? Of course. How we split the loot is all up to you, Brother Wang. Finally, Wang Jinyang let out a sigh. His expression was a bit helpless, but he had completely lowered his guard. You're a smart one. In the future, we'll definitely have other opportunities to make deals. Then he clarified a few things, to avoid them turning against each other in the future. The second-rank bone tempering and organ protection elixirs, Fang Ping couldn't use. Wang Jinyang agreed to exchange them for first-rank ones for him, and would also transfer him 1 million in cash. With that, Wang Jinyang went over and pulled some kind of elixir out from Huang Bin's body. He was on the verge of a financial breakthrough, so he had enough money to buy elixirs. He was just missing that one thing which was very expensive. Fang Ping didn't have a high enough rank to buy them, so he had to leave them all for Wang Jinyang. Once he breaks through to the next realm, gathering resources would be much easier than now. At that time, if Fang Ping needed anything, he could also ask for help. I've said my piece. If you agree, then you don't need to worry about what happens next with Huang Bin. You can just leave it to me. Just leave it to me. Fang Ping didn't expect that Huang Bin still had hidden goods on him. Looks like he took a big L on this deal, but this was unavoidable when borrowing strength from someone stronger. So faced with Wang Jinyang's demands, Fang Ping could only nod repeatedly. After all, this was the best solution. After receiving the 1,000 RMB from him, his wealth stat would increase significantly. Combined with diligent practice, passing the martial arts department exam would no longer be a big problem for him. Fang Ping took the few bottles of elixirs Wang Jinyang gave him and left. He estimated that those elixirs had to be worth 3.5 million RMB, but when converted to his wealth stat, it was only a little over 2.4 million points. Perhaps the system only calculated their actual value, not the market price. This kind of law seemed a bit excessive. Thinking of this, Fang Ping remembered something. He went back to Wang Jinyang. Brother Wang, what if Yang City takes his statement? Don't worry, he won't get a chance to talk, Wang Jinyang replied confidently. A murderer resisting arrest will be executed on the spot. A few days later, as promised, Fang Ping received 1,000 RMB in his bank account. His wealth points quickly skyrocketed. And because of that, the system also leveled up. The interface and unit values changed a lot. Qi and blood had switched to a calorie value like everyone else, and the vitality points had also changed. Now the numerical unit was more precise. Fang Ping tried using money to increase 1 point of Qi and blood. The result was a loss of 1,000 wealth points. This damn system really is a money grubber. If you have money, you get to level up. If you don't, you have to grind your butt off. Right after raising his Qi and blood to 122 points, Fang Ping also received a message from Wang Jinyang. Got the money, I sent you some more stuff. You'll need it later. Fang Ping didn't expect that he would send him more stuff. He felt a little happy inside. He texted back to thank him. Wang Jinyang typed something, then deleted it. Finally, he sent a message. I've lived this long and never really respected anyone. You can consider yourself the first. Wang Jinyang. He must be referring to the fact that Fang Ping could subdue Wang Bin on his own and still dared to negotiate with him. After reading the message, he suddenly felt a little embarrassed. That Wang Jinyang guy was complimenting him. He hadn't been happy for long when Fang Yuan burst in from outside. Without a word, she jumped on Fang Ping's back again. He nearly snapped his spine in half. Then the little girl started yelling, "Get up, I'm hungry!" Fang Ping held his breath, readjusting his 80-year-old spine. He muttered, "Go eat by yourself." "Can I use your money then?" "You have to use your own money. How could I have the heart to leave you at home all alone?" With no other choice, Fang Ping had to get up and change. He was getting ready to go out to eat with Fang Yuan, because both their parents had already gone to work. Just then she handed him something. She said it was from Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping didn't think the package it would arrive so quickly. And Fang Yuan felt that the sender's name was a bit familiar. After a few seconds of loading, the girl was incredibly shocked to learn that the famous Wang Jinyang from Nanjiang Martial Arts University knew her brother. Fang Yuan's eyes immediately lit up. She kept clinging to her brother, demanding that he get an autograph from that Wang guy for her no matter what. It seems that in this city of Yang, out of 5 girls, at least 3 of them had a crush on Wang Jinyang. The other 2 were especially fond of him. Fang Yuan even wanted her brother to help her get a lot of autographs from her idol. Then she could sell them for 10 yuan apiece. Then she could become an allowance billionaire. While Fang Yuan was still rambling on, Fang Ping had already quickly run outside. He eagerly tore open the express package. Inside were 3 cultivation technique books. 2 of them even had mandatory notes. Earlier at the internet cafe, Fang Ping had looked up some information. To break through, a martial artist needed to meet 2 conditions. First, their Qi and blood had to be high enough. As mentioned, to become a first-rank martial artist, the minimum Qi and blood had to be 150 points. Second, their bones had to be strong. And the strength of the bones wasn't just about taking supplements. It also required professional cultivation techniques. Fang Ping was still worried about not being able to find a technique. He didn't expect Wang Jinyang to have already sent them over. This deal didn't seem like too much of a loss after all. It's just that with these techniques, the small courtyard in front of the building was probably not suitable for cultivation anymore. Fang Ping was still racking his brain, wondering where to practice, when suddenly a real estate flyer was thrust into his hand. It was advertising a high-quality residential area that had just been completed. Fang Ping was actually attracted by this real estate area called Guanhu Residence. He dragged the real estate agent along with him to see the house. All along the way, he kept praising this Guanhu residence. Convenient transportation, convenient living, and the design was among the best on the market. The house Fang Ping looked at had a total area of 230 square meters. The selling price was 860,000 RMB. This house isn't bad, but the price is a bit high. Fang Ping sighed. Just that one sentence made the sales agent's face change. He felt that he didn't look like someone with money. If you think this fully furnished house is too expensive, we can go check out the unfurnished one and next door. But Fang Ping shook his head and asked back, "No need to look. If I pay in full, do I get any discounts?" The agent was like someone who'd gone fishing for crabs and caught gold. His eyes were practically glowing. He nearly jumped to hug Fang Ping. "Congratulations, young, handsome, and talented boss. Peerless in your generation. A crane among chickens, one of a kind, absolutely peerless. A dragon among men, exceptionally talented. And so beautiful flowers wilt and the moon hides, fish sink and birds fall. Elegant and otherworldly. Please accept your new home." Fang Ping was stunned when the other guy spouted dozens of idioms and proverbs at once. A contract was also held out in front of him. The sales agent said that if he signed the contract now, he would get a 5% discount on the management fee. Maintenance and repair fees would be completely waived. In addition, paying a 20% down payment up front could also reduce the house price a little. His attitude was completely different from before. He kept praising Fang Ping, making him feel very embarrassed. "So when can I move in?" Fang Ping asked as he signed the contract. "This is a fully furnished house. You can move in whenever you want. For customers who have paid in full, we will handle the follow-up procedures. So you don't need to worry. That was the first time he realized how good it was to have money. With the keys to his new house in hand, Fang Ping returned to his own home. He had no way to explain to his parents where he got the money. To buy a house like buying a bunch of vegetables. So for the time being, he didn't plan to tell them. Now that he had a private place to practice, Fang Ping planned to buy some more furniture and fitness equipment. On the way back, he was attracted by a crowd of people talking excitedly. They were gathered around an electronics store, watching a live broadcast of a battle. It was between Grandmaster Ma and Tai Mu. Out of curiosity, Fang Ping stopped to watch. In the center of the battle, the once dense forest had been turned into a battlefield by the two Grandmasters. Dust filled the sky. The five spirits' thunder fist that Tai Mu just unleashed made an entire mountain disappear. Manhwa was not to be outdone. He used his signature move, the one that made him famous, 10,000 galloping horses, to counterattack. It split a large mountain in half. Rubble flew everywhere. One boulder even hit the camera, immediately interrupting the live broadcast. Fang Ping's jaw dropped in amazement. Although he knew the martial artists in this world were no joke, this was the first time he'd seen Grandmaster-level martial artists fight. Their destructive power was no less than a nuclear bomb, and maybe, just maybe, this wasn't even their full strength. Not long after the program reconnected, the host and several other members of the film crew were also injured. If they weren't all third-rank martial artists or higher, they would have all gone to meet their maker together just now. Hearing the people around him say that today's battle was just Manhwa and Tai Mu, a sparring, and not a life-or-death fight, so they weren't using their full strength. Fang Ping was truly impressed by the two Grandmasters. He also started daydreaming about a future where he could be that strong. To make his Grandmaster dream a reality, Fang Ping quickly went to a furniture store to shop, to furnish his new home as soon as possible. Here, he came across a very beautiful sofa priced at 79,999 RMB, and, coincidentally, this sofa was also being eyed by a young couple. The wife was throwing a fit demanding to buy it, but the husband was hesitant, because 80,000 yuan was not a cheap sum. While the couple was arguing fiercely, the salesperson received information that this sofa had already been bought, and the buyer was none other than Fang Ping. The young man was still wearing his school uniform. No matter how you looked at it, he didn't seem like someone with money. Also because of his shopping spree, Fang Ping came home late that night. Li Yuying and her daughter were hanging laundry at that moment. Fang Ping had called earlier to say that he needed to seize the time to practice, and so he couldn't come home early for dinner tonight. But she had no idea that her son had secretly bought a house in a high-end residential area behind her back. Fang Ping was in his new house, practicing very seriously, based on the techniques Wang Jinyang sent him. These things were more difficult than he had imagined. The body's structure consists of 206 bones along with blood, flesh meridians, and internal organs. And for a second-ranked martial artist, these two parts must support each other. Whether you're a martial artist or not, if you want to effectively temper your bones, you can learn a tempering method combined with a stance technique. But that's not easy at all. Before practicing, Fang Ping had also called Wang Jinyang. The key to the tempering method is to compress the qi and blood, which is like a sponge, so that the body strengthens from withstanding the pressure of the qi and blood, while also cleansing the bones, so they can absorb qi and blood, thus increasing strength more effectively. Brother Wang, if both qi and blood and bone strength